When you go to vote, you just want the facts. You want to know the initiatives on the ballot, what your choices are, who your candidates are, and what their platform is. And then you take a chance with your vote. A chance that the candidate will deliver on promises made, and a chance that your vote on the initiatives will have the planned impact that was foreseen when the legislation was drafted. Disinformation and propaganda are not new to politics, nor are they new to campaigning. What is new and developed over recent years is how many people are online and digesting information during election season. What also is new are the numerous ways that a campaign can reach a demographic or a group, be it legal or not. If you're on social media and certain websites, you're more than likely going to see political ads and information regarding the election. And how do you know what's real information? One of the greatest obstacles to a populace being able to decipher and identify disinformation, aka fake news, is a politician, pundit, or celebrity labeling displeasing facts as fake news. Can you guys think of anybody that does that? The 2016 presidential campaign has come and gone, but the controversy remains in full swing, and now we're ramping up for another very important election cycle coming in 2020. Regardless of the actions and outcome, one of the things that is widely accepted by experts and everyday citizens is that disinformation was widely present before and after the vote in November of 2016. And it continues, and it's escalating leading up to November 3rd, 2020. This problem isn't going away. A study conducted by researchers at MIT focused on the cognitive aspects of exposure to fake news and found that on average, a newsreader believes a fake news headline at least 20% of the time, and false stories spread 10 times faster than real news. What exactly is disinformation, and how is it designed to cause confusion and strife? Daniel Funk, a reporter at the Poynter Institute, stated, "The most effective disinformation draws on our underlying fears and worldviews. If a piece of information makes you feel scared, angry, or even smug, then it's worth doing additional checks before resharing it." How is this related with misinformation, influence campaigns, and fake news? In this video, we will define disinformation in associated terms, review examples, learn how to identify disinformation, so as to be able to protect yourself from these backhanded tactics that cause such confusion, anger, and division in our world. What is disinformation? Carlo Kopp, a lecturer in computer science, and Kevin Korb, a reader in computer science at Monash University, stated in their article, "Very little fake news is needed to create chaos in a population. Not necessarily because individuals believe the disinformation, but because a population's ability to reach a consensus is disrupted, which is a threat to a democratic society." Disinformation, also referred to as fake news, is a blend between misinformation and malinformation. Misinformation can be simple or significant unintentional mistakes such as an error in statistics or translations. Malinformation is a purposeful change of private information for personal or business interests. Disinformation is deliberately changing and manipulating content in order to spread rumors, conspiracy theories, and propaganda. An influence campaign is specifically set up with an objective in mind. They are highly organized and planned. There is planning concerning what disinformation to create, how, when, and where to post it online, who to target, and how to respond to how people are digesting the disinformation. In modern history, a number of countries, regimes, and special interest organizations are participating in this tactic in order to cause disruption to democratic processes in their own or other countries. They divide and cause strife between groups. Disinformation is difficult to distinguish, and anybody is susceptible, including popular TV and radio show hosts with millions of viewers and followers, such as Sean Hannity, who was caught up in a series of fake articles posted on fringe news websites. These articles were tweeted and posted on Facebook, somehow making it onto Hannity's radio show. Luckily, later, after the fact, he owned up to it in writing. This demonstrates how quickly and widely disinformation can spread, and its far-reaching impact. So how many of Hannity's listeners didn't read or hear the correction? How many don't care or don't want to know? How many believe that disinformation to this day and have spread that on to friends and relatives? Media sources that are caught up in disinformation or use it as a source, who then turn and redact their story, make a correction, fire or discipline reporters and journalists, they still find that this has very far-reaching consequences. Sometimes that's the intention, most of the time it's not. News agencies are competing to be first to the story, and they're finding difficulty in identifying disinformation. They don't want to fall into the trap of publishing fake news. No news agency or media source is free from this error. The better question is to ask is that if the news agency that you use is one that constantly publishes disinformation. Or do they issue transparent and wide-reaching statements to correct mistakes made and mistruths published? Do they inherently represent only one political or social ideology? Do they practice objectivity when reporting? And do they mark opinion articles as such? Do they take disciplinary action against their journalists and reporters that constantly and unabashedly spread misinformation and disinformation? Be critical of your news sources because no organization is perfect, but cling to those sources that try their hardest to maintain journalistic integrity, as freedom of the press is paramount in our society. So how do you identify disinformation? Julian Matthews, a research officer at Monash University, put together some ways for us to identify disinformation. They are, quote, "For fake news, this might involve asking ourselves the following questions. What type of content is this? Many people rely on social media and aggregators as their main source of news. By reflecting on whether information is news, opinion, or even humor, this can help consolidate information more completely into memory. Where is it published? Paying attention to where information is published is crucial for encoding the source of information into memory. If something is a big deal, a wide variety of sources will discuss it, so attending to this detail is important. Who benefits? Reflecting on who benefits from you believing the content helps consolidate the source of that information into memory. It can also help us reflect on our own interests and whether our personal biases are at play." There are numerous examples of disinformation and fake news during the 2016 campaign. A simple search online will bring those up and the evidence for them. The campaigns were effective, and one example would be the fake news article that was posted on a fake website that was illegally imitating ABC News, titled, "Amish in America Commit Vote to Donald Trump, Mathematically Guaranteeing Him a Presidential Victory." If one were to inspect the fake website and digest the actual information of the article, you would know it was fake. But most people just saw the headline. For example, one such piece of information was that the article stated that there are millions of Amish in the United States. The fact is there are about 300,000 in the US and Canada combined. The fake website, the fake material, did not stop the spread of that material. Shortly before the election, this article was trending on Twitter and Facebook, and considering all other news happening simultaneously, it was difficult for experts to persuade and bring into the public light that this was fictitious. Had more users more critically investigated the source and content of the article, then the spread of disinformation would have been limited. Many saw the headline and approved of such news, retweeted and reposted. This is the typical pattern and intention of fake news. It often spreads faster than truth. To illustrate that both political and social campaigns understand the impact of information, especially disinformation, visually, we quote Claire Wardle, "When we see multiple messages about the same topic, our brains use that as a shortcut to credibility. On the night of President Trump's inauguration, attendees at the Deplore Ball boasted to This American Life that they memed Trump into the White House. They understand that we're much less likely to be critical of visuals. We're much less likely to be critical of information that supports our existing beliefs. And as information overload exhausts our brains, we're much easier to influence." Disinformation prevalent in the 2016 presidential election has not subsided. In fact, twice in 2018, Facebook has had to delete or permanently ban 600 plus accounts that were associated with similar type of disinformation campaigns. Facebook is especially cautious considering their role in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Facebook for a while exercised some caution, considering the public fallout, the PR nightmare, and their role in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, but as of late have taken the stance that they will refuse to take down or block political ads that contain disinformation. So it's up to us as a user to stop it by identifying it. 5 how-tos for identifying disinformation or fake news. 1. Know before you share. Follow the source, examine the website, and make sure it's the real deal, and then read the content. Another good guideline is, if it makes you react, then make sure to check if it's real, especially if it feels too good to be true. Especially if it feels too good to be true. 2. Do a search on a search engine, such as DuckDuckGo. Has a fact-checking website like Snopes, PolitiFact, or FactCheck provided feedback concerning the legitimacy and veracity of the article, meme, video, recording, or etc.? These sites should make their fact-checking process transparent. What's the original source? Is that source legitimate? Does the original source have a Wikipedia page? If so, read it. If not, further consider why it would not. Wikipedia offers insight into the validity of a website or organization. If it's an image or meme, do a reverse Google image search to find the original source. Then search if that source is reputable or legitimate. How do you do a reverse image search? Right-click on the image and then click Search Google for Image. 3. Check the comments, if available, on the social media post or article. See if someone has already debunked the content. 4. Is it based on a poll or survey available online? Online surveys only reach a specific audience and are often victim to manipulation. There are no scientific controls in place to make sure that the results of these polls are objective and representative. 5. Look at history and the timeline of the poster on social media. How old is their account? Does their account only spread similar disinformation? Are they agenda-oriented? This means do they only post and spread one type of information, usually starkly in favor or against a specific individual, party, or organization? Does the account contain original user content or just reshare agenda-oriented content? How to protect yourself. Disinformation has become such a widespread issue, and social media, search engines, and news platforms have had such trouble controlling the issue that now experts have put together whole courses on online information verification methods. While some of this content is intended for journalists, the best way to stop disinformation is to be able to identify it yourself. And I've put together a list of resources for you to be able to do that, and I will link those in the description. Online verification skills with Mike Caulfield, First Drafts Online 1-hour course, a toolbox put together by First Draft, International Fact-Checking Network full of articles and resources, and the News Literacy Project. All humans, especially when on the internet, absorb an extremely high amount of information. Make sure that you are critically absorbing this information and verifying before believing. It may seem tedious, but it gets easier, and it helps you filter out this disinformation and see reality while you're connected online. Additionally, it's ever important to protect your information while you're on the internet. Take, for example, the Cambridge Analytica scandal that extracted people's information through a fake poll. They would use this information to target you with a specific type of advertising, and on Facebook, it can be disinformation. So the following list, also put in the description, are our best resources to help you have a safe and secure browsing experience while online in order to protect yourself from exploitation. Fake news and social media, 3 questions to ask yourself. What is clickbait and how to navigate it securely? The best web browser extensions for internet security. Understanding firewalls and how they protect your computer and data. How to enjoy Facebook while also protecting your personal information. How to spot fake and spam email and avoid phishing attacks. 8 things to know about internet trolls. Conclusion. Disinformation crosses any invisible border and can enter any home. Unfortunately, we live in an age where the parties that we would think would be acting in our best interests are the ones engaging in the worst behavior, including using disinformation. We cannot rely on governments, political parties, and large tech companies to protect us from being subject to a large amount of disinformation and fake news. The solution is that you, as a user, are able to approach all information critically and do a proper job dissecting the validity of what you read and see on the internet. We can also vote for and implore representatives to hold those accountable that engage in these type of activities. A little bit of Photoshop editing and playful back and forth on the internet is fun. What is not fun is when our governments and special interest groups engage in disinformation warfare that construes our opinions and viewpoints going into a democratic election. As governments, high interest groups, and tech companies engage in childish banter and antics, push their agenda, and lack the transparency for true accountability, it is the populace that is the most impacted. If they won't fix the issue, then we can, by bypassing the necessity to rely on these parties to receive, exchange, and dissect information. In essence, the users and their interactions form the internet, and we can do it again on other platforms. If the current internet and its services is not our ally, then we can pivot and create a different type of internet that is. It is not idealism, but a reality that we can create and maintain an open, free, transparent, and creative internet that acts as a medium to unify humans. We do this by creating tools to do so and identifying bad actors that seek to spread disinformation and harm. The heart of the internet and its infrastructures has always been the users in our home networks. Begin to consider how you can safeguard your network as well as your mind. Everybody is evolving to be able to critically assess this influx of information, and at the same time we can create solutions to these disinformation issues. And vote with knowledge. It scares the crap out of powers that be.